My name is Shiela Ward, Shiela Ward.
My name is Tim Ward, Timward.
It's pretty simple. It's good. So where do you live, and have you always lived here?
I grew up in Camden, which is about 10 minutes outside of here. And then we have a school district, so we ended up moving into Rushville to finish our school years because they only had 6 grades in our small country school. And so then that's when I started coming to Rushville, and he lived here all his life, so.
I've lived here my entire life. This is my home. I was raised on a farm east of Rushville, about 5 miles. And went to school here. Wanted to be a farmer. Grew up on a farm, and that didn't work out. But through high school, I met Shiela. We started dating 2 weeks before her 15th birthday. And we got married 30 days after she graduated. And we've been together for 44 years.
You've answered my next question. If not, where else have you lived? And you've lived here in this area. Mm-hmm. Excellent. So what would you miss most if you had to leave Rushville, Illinois?
If I had to leave Rushville, what I would miss the most probably would be the community involvement. Everybody knows everybody. And you're able to reach out and help a lot of people because you just kind of know everybody and their aches and pains and kind of what they're going through. That's good and bad, but just being able to help a friend or neighbor.
The support of the community. Anytime someone needs something, everybody just jumps in and helps out. And that's very important to me, especially as a business owner.
So can you get one of you just give context of where Rushville is in the state of Illinois and kind of the sense of what Rushville is, what makes Rushville Rushville?
Well, for years, excuse me, for years the joke was we lived in Forgotonia because we're in the west central part of the state. There are very few interstates that run through west central Illinois. Rushville is probably in the heart of the west central part of the state. We are 60 miles from Springfield, our state capital. We're 90 from Peoria. We're 60 from Quincy on the Mississippi, and we're probably 70 from Keokuk, Iowa. So it's kind of a tri-state area.
That's very helpful, thank you. So how do you guys earn your living, your livelihood? You guys have multiple things you can do. So what is it you guys do?
We have several things. We owned an insurance agency since 1986, and Tim does finance and investments and retirement planning, and I help him in the office, work with him. Then we purchased this business, Pizza Unlimited, in 1995, just celebrated our 25th year, May 8th. And then we just 2 weeks before all of this hit, purchased a senior living facility, Country Gardens. And was kind of an eye-opener after we purchased that, because then we had no clue all this was going to happen.
What could go wrong on March 1st? Everything went rosy, and 2 weeks later we were slammed by the coronavirus.
And then Tim also works for our local hospital as the foundation director.
So what was I'm curious, I want to drill into this. Explain what this senior living center that you built. Well, what is it makes it different, but also what was your reasoning to go into it?
The reason is very simple. I had managed it for 14 years for Culbertson Hospital. The hospital needed to sell the facility due to some regulations with Medicare. They put it up for a bid, open bid, and having worked there 14 years, I thought I might as well continue if I get the opportunity, and I put a bid in. We got it. So it allowed us to continue that income coming from that facility. Uh, and that was our main motivation, plus the passion that I've always had there working with seniors. That's the greatest group of people in the world to work with. They love you back, they tell you their stories, you share their aches and pains, and you become close to them, and I like that bonding with those people.
It was only about 50% full at the time we purchased it. There was 11 residents, and if no one bought it, the fear of what was going to happen to them, because they became, like I said, he's been there 14 years, but I would go and visit with him, and they became friends. And to think that they would have to go to other states with their children or go to nursing homes or wherever it was scary, and we wanted them to have that stability.
People who live in rural communities their whole life, excuse me, people who live in rural communities their whole life want to live and die there. This is their home, and to lose that retirement facility would force people to have to spend the remainder of their lives in a different town or different community or different state, and this enables them to stay right here in the home, their hometown.
So, describe the moment COVID-19 became real to you, and how did that make you feel?
It was a very rough week. It was the week of March, 21st is when the state shut down. My big fear was what's going to happen to my business, what's going to happen to my employees, more importantly. I was more worried about them and them not being able, me not being able to continue to provide them a job. And they supported me and told me, don't worry about us, we'll be fine. But that was hard to hear. We stuck it out for a few days, and finally then we just locked our door for 30 days. It was tough.
COVID-19 became real to me when they shut down the NCAA basketball tournament first. Second was Major League Baseball, and then when it got into our community, rural communities lagged behind a little bit from the national exposure that we've seen on TV, and it became more of a reality here in Schuyler County. And it affected our businesses and our income, and we knew it was a real thing.
So how did your daily lives change at first? And how did that affect you emotionally? I mean, you run businesses, but how did the rest of your daily life change?
Our daily lives changed from just being a simple manager to learning every day how to combat against COVID-19. It was teaching our employees how to sanitize, how to dress, how to put a mask on, how to take gloves off, everything in detail that we had never learned before. Any type of business we'd ever ran, we'd never come across anything like that. So, and every day following the news, watching the daily news broadcasts from federal and state to see what was going on with COVID-19 and where we were.
And a lot of people hunkered down, and we weren't allowed to do that. We had to be at our senior living facility daily. And at the time, we were still trying to hire new employees. We had just owned it for 2 weeks. So we were trying to fill all those positions and trying to find people in the middle of all that. And it was tough.
Plus stay healthy ourselves.
Yes.
Anytime if Shiela or I go down, then the whole thing can collapse. Because we're the rainmakers. We're the ones that make it happen, promote our businesses, encourage our employees, and hug those seniors every day. So we're the cheerleaders, we're the rainmakers, making sure that we don't get that disease.
And trying to keep their spirits up, because they were locked down. They couldn't see their family. Their family stopping in, that was gone. And they're there with just each other and with us. So it was.
So now that we're about 100 days into this, how has your life changed more recently? What's different about life on a daily basis?
As far as the restaurant, Monday we started opening more hours. We reopened after being closed for 30 days on April 20th, and we were just opening 4 hours in the evening. And we weren't doing a lot of business, but I just felt like I needed to bring those employees back and give them enough hours where they could have some income but still keep their unemployment. So then this week we started opening up more hours. The unemployment's coming to an end. We've been told by the governor that starting next Friday we may be able to do some dine-in. So I brought the employees in. We did a top to bottom sanitation, cleaning of everything, pictures to walls to floors, and just preparing for that reopening. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes about.
So are there things that you've adopted from a habit or routine perspective since everything broke out that you plan on keeping in your life as things turn into whatever it turns into?
I like how we are more proactive on sanitizing our facilities and our businesses. That needs to stay. That's a good habit. And people got away from that, and you get away from that in your daily lives. But thinking constantly as you get out of your vehicle, I got to put my mask on. I got to sanitize when I walk in. And it's very hard for me to get used to not shaking somebody's hand. That's very strange for me.
Yeah.
Anything else that is with you? It's okay. No, it's okay. So what's been the biggest challenge for you throughout the pandemic? And how does it compare to any other big challenge you faced prior to the pandemic?
Our employees would probably be a challenge.
Yeah. And time. Feels like there's never enough hours in the day. We get home long enough to call it a day and back up bright and early the next morning. There's just never enough hours. So that's
It's
a
been
big
difficult
challenge.
for our employees who are forced to be laid off. But now that they've been laid off, they're actually making more money laid off than they would if they were working. So it's been hard to get them to come back. You can't blame them for that, but yet we need workers that
I
we're
feel
struggling.
guilty. Yeah, I feel guilty bringing them back. And when the federal government was giving them that extra $600 a week. So, but I have a business to run, and they understand that. They've been pretty good about it. So I know a lot of businesses are fighting that, but my employees have been pretty good.
So, and how does it compare to anything else you've faced before?
I don't know if it does. I don't know if we've ever faced anything, a struggle like this before. We've had some slow times in business. I don't know. I don't remember anything that
No,
we've done
this
that
was
could
probably
compare
one
to
of the-
this.
I've told people I've been through, in 25 years as a restaurant owner, I've been through new businesses opening and slowing my business down. I've been through economic problems with produce and meat prices skyrocketing and not being able to adjust your prices accordingly. Overall economy problems, but never ever dreamed that a virus would be the one thing that would maybe possibly in my business. A few weeks ago, I wasn't sure I was going to reopen my doors. I was going to just say, okay, it's over, it's done. But I'm a fighter, so.
So how do you think your daily life's going to feel like 2 years from now?
I don't know. I don't know how my life's going to feel like, because I don't know where we're going to be in this pandemic 2 years from now. If there's a cure for the pandemic, then we'll be back to a normal life. If there's not, I can't imagine life without Little League baseball or a 60-game schedule. That's that's just not normal to me. The sport events that we go with our community and the different events we go to, our new fitness facility, we're trying to get that open. I can't imagine opening up a 30,000 square foot facility and just letting 50 people in there at a time. It's nuts.
I'm hoping in 2 years things are a little calmer, for me anyway. I'm hoping to pass the baton and maybe sit back a little bit more.
So the challenges that COVID-19 has surfaced at your businesses or even in the community, the Rushville community, what excites you about solving them?
Solving the challenges?
Yeah, that have surfaced because of COVID-19.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's one less disease. It proves that as a country we can work together in a pandemic to solve this crisis, and we will. So that's positive, and that's exciting to know that no matter how tough it gets in this country, we're going to be able to solve it. It might not happen overnight, but we'll solve this pandemic and we'll move on.
And in the last couple of weeks, we've had a whole nother national conversation come up with the George Floyd incident, all of the resulting protests, not just in cities on the coast, but every state. What were your reactions to the George Floyd incident, and then what are your reactions to the resulting protests that have come up?
I feel like it's like a cycle thing. We've saw this in the past, and maybe the younger people that are protesting and so forth haven't been through all this, but I remember some of the 60s and some of the things that went on. Our local town actually did a protest march, and we've had a lot of immigrants move in because of a meatpacking plant up the road, and we all get along. Everybody gets along here with, I don't look at color or race or their religion, it's just people. That's the way I look at things. And I don't know, I have a hard time when people say there's prejudice out there, which I know there is, but in a small town I don't see it. Years ago, yes, but I think we're more open now as a small community than we used to be. And it hurts, it bothers me that people are so angry all the time and over everything. I mean, politics and race and just everything. It's sad, very sad.
What was the tenor of when the protest? What do you think drew people out for that? Because I had a similar experience in Lafayette. It was amazing to see how even in a town of 70,000, how many people came out for it.
I think a lot of them truly are there for the reason they're supposed to be there for. Some are just in it for the excitement. Some were tired of being locked in, and that's why they got out. There's a whole mixture there.
I think we have a whole generation that's never been involved in a protest, and it was their first time for many of those, and gave them the opportunity to express their thoughts and their feelings, which is good. That was good. Plus, I think the pandemic, we've been shut up for so long, you just an opportunity just to get out and do something.
People feel like change needs to be made, and that's their way of helping see that happen.
So, in two words or less, how would you describe your 2020? The year 2020 so far, and why would you choose those one or two words?
It sucks. To date, it sucks, to have the stock market at a high in January to where we are now, to see the unemployment go 20, 30% nationwide in no time, to see small businesses go broke, to see people struggle, it sucks.
Emotional, lots of ups and downs. One minute you think, okay, this is going to work, and the next minute you think, why do I even try? Not being able to see your kids and grandkids, it's been tough, big time. And watching other people not be able to see their family, and then that makes you miss yours even more. But yeah, it's just emotional.
So then what one or two words you think will describe how you'll feel 5 years from now?
Retired, more relaxed, hopefully.
It's all good, man.
Is there any questions I should have asked you that I haven't yet? Maybe about the anonymous donor in town. What's this? I mean, life. You mentioned life in a rural community. So what is the last decades in a rural community look like? You mentioned downstate Illinois. What would be kind of the typical downstate town? And then you mentioned this anonymous donor that's kind of come in Rushville. What is the person doing to make Rushville better?
The typical look of a small community downstate Illinois the last 10 years, you've seen a loss in population. You've seen less jobs, unless you have an anonymous donor, like we do in Rushville. And the anonymous donor has blessed us with a new community swimming pool, a new community fitness center, new fire and ambulance and police cars.
Grandstand at our local fair.
Grandstands, little things or big things in rural communities. We have our anonymous donors probably gifted $25 million in the last 5-6 years, plus a new performing arts center, which we're looking at building for the high school now. So those are big things. I think they're big things in any community, but when you see other things that other towns have and you wish you could have those, and you finally get something like that, it just really hits home.
We were a thriving community for years, and lots of retail up on the square, lots of businesses in town. And slowly, as people got more mobile, they would go to other big towns to buy things, and stores start closing. So our town kind of has been in a lull for a few years. So these new developments is going to start drawing people back to Rushville. So we're pretty excited about that.
Nice. So as people kind of watch this, and they're watching from all across the country, maybe even the world, it's on the internet, in between their cat videos, what message would you like to share for those people who are watching this? They'll probably see it a week and a half from now.
About what? Us, Koga, or what?
What message do you want them to hear?
Keep the faith. Just keep believing that things will get better. We've got through tough times before, and we'll get through this.
Yep. Tough times last. Or let me say that. Cut this.
Cut.
Cut, yeah. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. And that's when you live in a rural community, small towns. You have to suck it up. You have to work a little tougher to get things achieved. But everybody needs to hang in there. And I would just want to say this: go Cardinals.